Introduction. Key market factors.
Okay, look, angry, frustrated, confused, even dismayed. As a Canadian, I can echo those emotions that, so many are rightfully feeling. Especially given this macro environment, uncertainty remains high. Harvest is 100% Canadian owned, operated, and 100% Canadian based asset manager, and we design investment products for Canadians that are listed on the TSX. As investors, those emotions I just mentioned are exacerbated by the significant amount of volatility we're right in the midst of going through right now. Vertigo continues to be the theme for us this month. Pilots, when they get vertigo, they can't tell which way the plane is flying. And when this happens, they're taught and trained to look at their gauges. So looking at our gauges right now, there's things that we know, there's things that we know we don't know, and that's causing a really big shift in sentiment. It begs the question for us, what's already priced in and when and where will markets stabilize?
What we know, metrics versus sentiment.
Okay, so things that we know, I think everybody would agree, tariff talk is exhausting. Trade risk is literally off the charts, and geopolitical risks globally remain on edge. So don't fall off your chair, but we also know that the economic data in the US, I get it, it's typically a lag, but it is continuing to be relatively stable. And looking at things like the labor market, manufacturing, and even inflation, one of our favorite indicators that combines 85 economic data points, it kind of shows us where we're at right now, still showing a soft landing environment. I get the eye rolls in the background because it sure doesn't feel that way, especially as Canadians, and acknowledging that economic data can lag. But we're not alone in that sentiment. The other thing that we know is sentiment amongst investors is not only weak, but it's near or below the extreme lows that we've seen during times like the financial crisis, the global pandemic, and the recent 20+ correction that we saw back in 22. So there is the challenge. Economic data is effectively at a T-junction with sentiment. The unknown is, does sentiment start to improve, which it can quickly, or does the overriding negative sentiment actually fuel real changes in consumer behavior, business investment behavior, and that would lead to data turning economically, and that also could happen quickly. So what's priced in, and what are some of the signs of a bottom?
Valuations and looking for the bottom.
Looking at the S&P 500, we've had the forward priced earnings multiples compress significantly. Indeed, one can see that we've actually moved back in line with longer term averages. Well, the S&P 500 equal weight, that takes out the skew of the big 7 tech plus names, has actually pulled back to significantly below the past 10-year average on valuation. I'd highlight, just like markets don't correct when they move up on valuations and stocks are expensive, nor do they bottom when valuations are inexpensive. And alas, I don't have the answer on the timing of a bottom. I can say though that the few times that the sentiment has been so negative, markets were actually positive in the periods that followed. And dare I say that it's one metric, it's only happened a couple of times, and it is different this time. Most long-term investors, this is really a stay the course, stay invested type of moment. We've got attractive valuations balanced against a really dynamic that is changing rapidly and has some fundamental uncertainty that does exist. We would reiterate our comments from recent months, being diversified, ensuring defensive areas like healthcare and utilities that we focused in on, positioning in portfolio as perhaps taking stock of where one's allocated currently. They remain prudent course of action in this environment. And you can check out our recent insight pieces on asset allocations, diversification, and more recently our discussions on investment factors such as low volatility and what to watch out for in the Canadian equity investing landscape. Till the next time, elbows up and stick on the ice.
Subscribe to Harvest ETFs Insights. Join us and stay informed.